This is Walter Morello, real estate mentor, and I'm here with my amazing partner.
Oh, Mike Schein.
Mike Schein, what is your new slogan? What have you been saying lately?
Massive income from passive income.
I love it.
I
I love
it.
it. That's got to be a book.
Just to jump right into it, the genesis is that we had an Airbnb.
Yep.
And Brenda was going over there to do the cleaning like every other night because it didn't make enough money to pay a cleaning. Even with the cleaning service, I know you can charge an extra amount for cleaning, but yeah, so I kept saying, geez, I want you home and the kids want you home. Massive income from passive income, not a new job called Airbnb. And she totally agreed, because when you do an Airbnb, you don't just clean the sheets. You have to clean the comforters. You have to clean out the oven every time. You have to do all the dishes, make sure there's no spot, all that good stuff. So, yeah.
This is why you're a super host and I'm just a normal host.
Yeah, right. Now we have a really nice woman who rents that place all year round.
Yep.
And she loves it, and we love her as a tenant. Everything's working out.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
cool.
So Airbnb is somewhat of a job.
Right.
Unless you, obviously, I know people who've automated it and they've got, a cleaning lady that goes in and does everything.
Right.
But scale wise, just wasn't there where you were.
Yeah, exactly. If you got a one-bedroom cottage, you're not scaled, and you can't hire all sorts of people to do the job for you. So.
Right. And you're still getting good cash flow off of that property. So it makes sense.
Yeah. It's actually, it probably equals, because if you think about Airbnb, we used to get like a gift card for coffee, bananas.
Okay, you were cheating. You're basically buying Superhost.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's awesome. Anyway, I think I've already talked about it before, but I told you that all the women, all they said was clean. It was clean. And I never realized the difference between men and women until that point. Clean. Cleanliness.
Men and women are like, I was able to stay there. So perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Got you.
So anyways, what was it before we turned on the camera? What was I talking about?
You were just talking about the book you started, which was Start with Why or The Power of Why. Which one was it?
Yeah, Start with Why.
Start with Why.
Yeah, and it was just an amazing. I thought the book was going to be about my why and things like that, but you get into it, and it's a lot of talk about businesses and how businesses run, and then I came into work and I was talking to Jessica, who's my paralegal. We've been together for 9 years. And I mean, we didn't do it purposefully, but we have a why in my law business that goes way beyond making money. It's about taking care of the clients and taking something that people think like lawyers are supposed to be boring and mean and things like that, making it a really pleasant experience where people show up. It's a fun situation, and I get a lot of comments afterwards. Wow, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And you're like, well, yeah, we're just signing some documents and getting you in and out of here. So yeah, it's cool.
And that's been the experience of you just as a person. I really was, when I first met you, I was like, I'm intimidated by this attorney. He's the real estate attorney in this group, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go and like go over there like a normal person. I'm going to let him know everything I got, like all my stuff. So he recognizes that I'm also, cool. And, and immediately like your just fun personality was like, it was like not what I was prepared for, right? Like they don't prepare you for the fun attorney.
That's funny because that's the way I felt about you. You stood up in front of that RIA meeting, all decked out in your suit and, you got your beard all sharp, and then you started talking about wholesaling and what you're doing, and I'm like, he's talking a language I don't even understand. But then obviously we got to know each other, so it's cool.
Yeah. we got past our barriers of all this ego we're pushing out on people. And the irony is, you're not doing it on purpose. It's just the brand of what an attorney is, right? Like.
Right. And there's lots of different types of attorneys. There's to go back to the DISC profile, there are some the real D's. I've worked in some firms that had some real D's. I mean, dominant.
Yeah, dominant.
Dominant. Jesus, somebody's
It also stands for demanding.
Yeah, demanding. Oh God. And there were others that were like C's that couldn't have a conversation in the hallway. You know,
Super
they were just
cautious. Yep.
so in their like the meticulous what word needs to be in a memorandum that's got
Yep.
oh my God, that's like watching paint dry for an eye, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah, and then you're an influencer, so you're about fun, adventure, people,
yeah.
like interaction.
And
Yeah.
Rainmaker, I never knew that. I worked at a firm in California. And I was just a C. I was like put in the back room and supposed to do research and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
it really isn't until the last couple of years that I realized I would have been very successful at that firm if they had sent me out networking and just said, go get some business, because
Yep.
that's my real forte. Um, the real estate work has some wrinkles, but it's pretty repetitive, so that's not the most important thing. Like if you're doing like complex civil litigation, you really have to get into the weeds. I worked in a firm like that out in California. It's a
Yeah.
lot of that's complicated stuff, and that's the guys that stay there till 9 o'clock at night, stuck in
Yeah.
their office when they're like senior partners, and you're like, "What are you doing? You're
It's
70. What are you
it's
doing?"
it's crazy because I'm watching your face as you go into this and hearing your tone. And you're like, it sounds like torture to you, right?
Yeah,
You're
it
like,
is.
no, I never want to be there at my office that late doing anything.
Oh, so yeah, I'll tell you a quick story.
Unless
I
it's an
worked
office
at
party.
Yeah, yeah. We had an office party at the firm in Irvine, California,
Yep.
and at first nobody would do the karaoke, so I got up and did the karaoke,
You
and
were that attorney.
because I love karaoke, I don't need a drink to do a karaoke.
So, Mike, what is the book of the week? What are we getting
Ah,
into
look,
today?
we're moving on. All right, look at the week.
Just dive into, hey, start with why. You're talking about start with why and the companies.
Yeah, but that's not the book of the week for this
No,
podcast. That was
definitely not.
the week
But
for
you were reading it. What was the big takeaway for you?
Well, I'm not done with it yet, but the big takeaway is that most companies try to sell things by saying what they do and how they do it, and that just will turn you into a commodity, because
Yeah.
everybody else, there are plenty of other attorneys who can do the exact same thing that we do, close loans. There's also, dishwashers. There's a bunch of companies that can make dishwashers, or if you want to
Yep.
use the science of getting rich, sewing machines. They can all make sewing machines.
Perfect.
But the difference with companies like Apple and my favorite company, Tesla,
Yep.
is that they start with why.
Yep.
And so they do the how and the what later, but they start with why. And that's what makes a difference. And man, that book was just amazing when it talked about how Apple has such a maniacal following. People just so crazy about following them versus like Dell tried to do an MP3 and everybody's like, no.
False. That's not an Apple.
Yeah, get that Dell MP3 out of here.
No, I remember those. It wasn't just them; it was everybody, right? Everybody was making those MP3s. But
yeah,
like,
I actually had like a big clunky one before here.
I have mine sitting right here.
Yeah.
I
I
can't
thought
throw
this
it
thing
out.
was the greatest thing ever. And then,
Yeah. Oh man, the iPod. Like I remember thinking like I couldn't stand how pretentious Apple was,
right.
but I was like they did create the superior product.
That's so funny. That's so funny because that was the same thing. I said I had my Archos, which weighed like 2 pounds. It's like they didn't invent this. I had this before. They didn't invent it.
Nope.
Yeah.
And that's what Apple's why is. And it's so funny you say this because this morning I was talking to Darina and what she told me was, yeah, right. She just got back from a run and she said, hey, I just listened to this part of the book, Start With Why, and it's about Apple's why and how it's.
No way.
I swear to God, this is the conversation we had literally so awesome. 10 minutes, like right before we jumped on this call.
Yeah.
And she said it's about the individual being against the big corporation, like being like fighting against the big corporation by having all the same power without having to spend any of the money and having all the tools. And she told me,
what a crazy thought that a person from Russia would speak to her.
Right?
Yeah.
And she told me, she said, she's like, that's why like everybody wants to like do what you're doing. Like you're against like people having to work 70 years.
Right?
You're telling everybody that it's a 5-year plan and giving people this retirement plan and saying it's okay to be a millionaire when everybody else is thinking, no, being rich is not nice or not right. Like you're going against the grain.
Tim Ferriss, 4-hour work week. He said he tested that, going back to 80-20 principle we did last week.
Yep.
He said he tested that name, and now every time you hear Tim Ferriss on his podcast, he's like, I know it's a goofy name, but it tested the best and people loved it, you know?
Yeah.
People say, when they hear Walter say, hey, you don't have to work for 70 years, you can do this in 5 years to put these things into action, and we're on our way. It's the same idea.
Right.
Awesome.
100 millionaires. Let's build 100 millionaires, Mike.
That's, by the way, I got to give you some credit because I know I'm on this podcast, but every time I mention the words 100 millionaires to people, they get amped up. Even the guy that I invited for next week to talk about hard money, when I said it's called 100 millionaires, we're trying to make 100 millionaires and then have them make another 100 millionaires. He was like, wow, that's a great vision, or something like that, you know? So it was awesome. Yeah. I gravitated to it too.
I am absolutely blessed to be on the mission, man. Like I can't take credit for it. It just, you know, the universe was just like, boom, here you go. And as soon as I started sharing it, everybody attached to it. And it was like, yeah, okay, that's the one. Like Tim Ferriss, it was the split test.
Yeah.
I've said a lot of things in front of a lot of people, right? Hundreds of people. Right. And when I said that, like the room got electric, right? It just changed, you know?
Cool.
And every time I've mentioned it, it's that effect with people because you see the power. And you and I had the conversation, you're like, why don't we say 10,000 millionaires? The mind says that's too big.
Too big, right?
But 100 millionaires feels that's possible.
Yeah. I was watching, I don't know, I think it was because I watch your live videos on Facebook and then something else comes up. Yep. It happened to be, I think it was Paul Simon talking about bridge over troubled water. And it was the same, you said that it came from the universe.
Yeah.
He said, I've written a lot of songs, but this thing came from, this is so far beyond me. I have no idea where it came from. And it just kind of, it was a really neat little, 3 or 4 minutes about where it came from. And then he had the producer of the record say, yeah, I heard this thing and it just kind of blew me away. It was just completely different. So cool. I love that. It's
nuts. Like I've tried to come up with so many ideas on my own. And this one was just one day I just had like this cloud and like it was almost like the universe was trying to force an idea into my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like I've got to go sit down and like grab some paper because something's going on here. And
nice.
like you'll feel it every so often. You just like get bogged down. You don't know why. Like that's the universe saying, I got an answer for you. Right.
Yeah.
And I was there and I'm just like, man, like all I want to do is make the world a better place. I just want like to kill poverty. Like if I could like pick out enemy, that would be my enemy. Right. And who does that? I know you don't do it by just putting money back into the masses because it just ends up back with the rich people. So that can't be the solution. In The Science of Getting Rich, the book we're about to talk about goes into how the only way to kill poverty is to get wealthy thoughts into the poor. And the only way to get wealthy thoughts into the poor is to become rich yourself, to have wealthy thoughts. So,
and I'm willing to do that.
Right? And then right, everybody is, if you know the secret. Give it a shot, right?
Take one for the team.
Mike, you can be the test pilot.
Yeah.
It's so putting wealthy thoughts into other people's minds. If that's the key, why don't we put the wealthier thoughts into wealthy minds? But while we're doing it, inspiring them to do the same, hitting them with, hey, we're going to make you a millionaire. The only thing we're asking is you got to go make 100 more. And
that's great.
And just putting that out there. And it was so simple, 100 millionaires. Like just one thing. If I do one thing, it does everything. And
what's neat is that you did it in Fall River, which is from where I look, it's kind of a scrappy town. So
thanks for being gentle with that one, Mike.
Well, I mean it. I mean, like people are hardworking and they're willing to put the time in, but it's blue collar. So when you send a message in a town like that versus, I don't know, Palm Beach, really, it's not going to, it's not going to have the same resonance. So when you say that to people, hey, and it's a good dovetail to the book, Science of Getting Rich, because what was encouraging to me about this wonderful book, Science of Getting Rich, Walter reads every single week, And
That's right.
I think I'm going to start doing it because I started reading it again just for this podcast.
Yep.
And I remember what was great about this book for me
Yeah.
was that it was so encouraging.
Yeah.
Because you sit there and you're floating off in a cloud of like, man, I like money. I want more money. That would be awesome, right? To have more money.
Right.
And then you read this book and he said, hey, by the way, there's a science to getting rich. And if you just follow the steps, it's like making water. You take two hydrogens and you take an oxygen and you've got water. And
Every time consistently.
yeah, every time consistently. And he even says that in one of the early chapters that the proof is that if everybody does that and they all become rich, then it's got to be true. And it is true. And I just, that was like so positive for me. It was like, oh my God, yeah, there's a science. I'm going to follow that science and boom. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what attracted me to it in the first place is exactly that chapter. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I've read close to 300 books right now, right? I'm somewhere between, I'm probably around 240 books. No, 260 books. No, just in the last almost 6 years now.
Sometimes it feels like with us.
It's going by quick.
little behind the curtain thing. I'm really happy that we're at the fifth of the foundational 5.
Yep.
Because the stress of doing a book for our Saturday morning wholesale mindset, plus doing a separate foundational 5, because we had to go back to these, has been a little stressful. Because on the other hand, I also have a spiritual side, and Brenda's reading all these books, and she's like, "You have to read this book, like Power of Now." And right now, I'm reading The Untethered Soul, and so it's like, oh my God, all these books at once. But yeah. So
and you just did the Surrender Project, and so it's like this is one book club we can end for now, and just pick up with whatever we're on.
Yeah,
I love it. It's like the knowledge, right? Like there's so much knowledge out there. It's not about anything but putting more information into your head. I mean, obviously, the action is required, right? Like with that action, with all those thoughts. That, right? What is it?
He even says that, as you know, because you read it all the time. That it's not, you're just a dreamer, I think, is this quote. If you're just thinking about it, you're just a dreamer. So
right. And that's the whole point is right action. And I was thinking about as I was getting ready this morning, and I've had moments where I think about some of the deals I've done, some real estate transactions that I've done, and I'm like, man, like I would have done that so differently now if I did that. And sometimes I sit with Ron, my business partner, and we talk about some of the mistakes we've made, and we still have to come back to it was the best we had at the time. We didn't have this knowledge. Right. If we had this knowledge, of course we would have done things differently. But at that time, we actually have to calculate our knowledge like system at the time. And we say, man, like we had no clue about how any of this works then. So there's no way we would have done a different decision. Like regardless of what, like, no, there's no way of going back and changing our minds because that's all our mindset was capable of at the time.
I'll add to that. You're also something that's in the book. It talks about God or universe or thinking stuff.
Thinking stuff.
Universe. There's a lot of talk about in this book about faith, and you got to have faith that all those decisions were made in those ways to get you to this point. Right. And if you start questioning what you did or what deals you didn't, what places you didn't buy or all that stuff, then you're not gonna. Then you're basically questioning God. You're basically saying He doesn't really know what He's talking about. Universe doesn't have my back, and that's not. Yeah, that's. I love that because we all make mistakes, and then you sit there and you ruminate over them and all that kind of stuff. And you don't let it go and all that kind of stuff, and to know that God's got your back, it's awesome.
Right. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. And I love that you're doing the spiritual stuff with money because they're tied so tightly, right? Like money and spirituality are tied so interconnectedly, like you can't separate them. Exactly. Because it's like as soon as, and this is the part that can be so mind-boggling, is that you'll see super spiritual people have no money.
That's in the book too, right?
Right, and it's like, hold on, like you can go too far in a direction and cut off your arm as well, right? Like, like you can't live without the mind, body, and the soul, and that's what he says in the book: is mind, body, soul, and they're all intertwined. Without the body, you can't receive money. Without the soul, you can't receive money. Without the mind, you can't receive money. and you have to have all three, and you wouldn't cut any one of them out. All are good. But
Right.
you don't want to go too far in any direction.
Right.
And then he actually says, to paraphrase from the book, we've all seen the repulsive, or whatever he says,
Right.
results of people who've gone too far in the body, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that part.
That's the easy one to see, but we're talking about the spiritual or the
Yeah.
mind, right? Ego, all the information, but never taking action.
Yeah. The book is kind of funny too. So first of all, it's very, very short. It's only like 90 pages. Or 80 pages actually, in this
2
one.
hours.
Yeah, and it's, do you when you say you read it do you listen to it every week, or do you actually read it? You listen to it.
No, I listen to it.
Put your headphones on, turn the lights off, and just chill.
Sometimes, but I throw it on my phone, and I start in the morning. It's usually on a Sunday, so I'll be laying in bed and I'll already start. Then as I'm going to the bathroom, you start with, you're brushing your teeth. I'm shaving everything, right? Shaving my head, shaving my beard.
Yeah.
And then I jump into the shower. I got a little mount for my phone. What is it?
That's a lot of work. I don't even like to do, now that I have this sort of beard, I have to shave here and shave on here, and it seems like work.
So the bald head is work, but during Corona time, my work hasn't changed.
Yeah, right?
And so my head has looked exactly the same. Well, I just cut Ron's hair the other day. I was like, dude, I can't keep looking at you like this.
Cut his hair. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. You did a good job.
No, terrible job, but but I'm his best friend, and he appreciates the effort. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we got
he looks better than he did, and that's the comparison I'm going by.
We had an attorney in my group the other day that got on a Zoom call, and my God, like, what the hell happened to your hair? He's like, well, I started, and then my sister tried to help out. No, it just didn't work at all.
It's an epidemic, connected to a pandemic.
Yeah, it's bad.
People are doing their own hairs now.
Right, I'm going back to the 70s long hair. Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ron was going too, and I was like, dude, we're not time traveling right now. Like, I've got these two hands, eyeballs. I can figure this out.
Oh
and
she talked to Stephanie, right? She just had her do it over Zoom. She could give you little tips on it.
So she's our business partner, right? So I get her on the call, and
Yeah, right.
But all I did was over his ears in the back, lining up the back, and he was fine. But I told him, I was like, I'm not touching the top. I don't know how to do a fade. And this is what he was mad at me about, right? Because Steph came out here to have a business meeting for about, she was here for a week,
Right.
And I was like, no, you're not allowed to cut hair. I told her, you're killing your scissors. You're putting the scissors down, putting the trimmers down, and your job is run the business, not be in the business. So I'm giving her really great advice.
Now Ron wants to kill you.
But Ron is so frustrated because he could have had a haircut a month ago, right?
Yeah, totally.
we thought we were going to come out of this, and we weren't really thinking about how bad it was going to get.
Right. So
you mentioned faith. And that is one of the four. Because I think that you could boil this down to 4 principles. This book is 4 principles to wealth, and if you dial them down, faith is one of them. Do you have an order you want to run in? Gratitude.
That's my favorite chapter. I know I've talked to you, but since we're doing a podcast, there are people on the internet who do something called the 90-day Science of Getting Rich Challenge, which they read chapters 4, 7, 11, and 14.
Yep.
I will say that because we were doing this podcast, I started reading the other chapters again, which has been a little while since I read them. And the other chapters have a lot of value in them, and it's only an 80-page book. So
yep.
You may be missing some stuff if you skip the other chapters, but there is a challenge. That's how much of a movement the Science of Getting Rich, which was written in 1910, I think it was, or I don't know.
I love it, and I've given it a try, and I love the last chapter. Chapter of the book.
Yeah.
Summary? If you listen to that, it boils it all down. It makes it so simple, but the stories make it stick. The stories make it stick, and they give you the examples, and you really get it to flow into your life.
Yeah,
and sometimes
I was laughing today because I was writing. you know, obviously we're both into real estate. And
Yep.
then one of his examples is about the guy who lives in the house and he thinks of stuff, but he only thinks of like a rug and
Yeah.
and the stove.
Yep.
Like,
He's thinking too small. It's like, oh man, all
yeah,
he thought about
like,
was the
but dude,
rug.
I'm going back to the supermarket of the universe. You
Right.
know? He just
And
went back and got everything he wanted in his house.
and then he gets the house that he wants. He gets the
Yeah,
window over there that he wants, and it,
real
starts
estate,
designing it.
real
Right.
estate.
And well, with real estate investing, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
It wasn't until I started looking into the REITs, like the real estate investment trust, that I realized, oh my God, like I was like, I've always followed the pathway, right? And I'll probably do syndication as well because it is on the pathway. But
right.
you buy and hold. Well, start with house hacking, right? You buy and hold, or a wholesaler, you'd be an agent, and then you jump into flipping, then you get into buy and hold, and then you realize you can only buy so much with your own cash. Then you get into commercial, then you get into syndication, and then you get into real estate investment trust. And most people never get there.
Right.
And I started paying attention to real estate investment trust just as a paper asset because I wanted to keep some stocks going.
Sure.
And because I was focusing on the REITs, that's the other piece that ties into the 100 millionaires. With 100 millionaires, we can build our own REIT, right? Our own real
Love
estate
it.
investment trust where we're all working together and
I
we
love
understand
that.
investment. We've all built each other up. And it's, if I wasn't focusing on that, I don't think I would have been able to think REIT without having first gone through the whole syndication process,
Right.
which we will go through,
Sure.
but it's like we know where we're going,
Yeah. Yeah. And you act like you already have it.
Right.
One of the things that that you did that I just did last weekend was on my vision board. So I put stuff on my vision board that I wanted.
Yeah.
So I put my red Tesla, a
Nice.
really shiny one that was on the thing, and I see myself getting red Tesla.
On the
Uh,
thing, Google, right? Yeah. But I also see myself as a black Tesla, but
yeah.
you're the I, I'm the D, so
um,
DI.
but what I did put on there was I said I wanted a 120 unit apartment building.
Yeah.
So I just Googled Pinterest, 120 units.
Yep.
We have a color printer and just printed that out, and two different types of 120 unit apartment buildings there, and they're on my vision board, which
Nice.
full disclosure is not glued down yet. So I was up in my bedroom. I have all the pictures. My favorite thing was that there was some guy who wrote a podcast that it says Tesla at 4,000 or $4 question
Yep.
mark. So I cut off the $4, and so on my vision board it says Tesla at 4,000. So,
How excited is Tesla knowing they got one of the most powerful manifestors pulling for them?
Thank you.
Like, well, what are these guys pulling for us? They got a whole podcast pulling for Tesla right now.
Yeah. Oh my God! It just I know that that book, The Power of Why, was written in like 2012, and they talk about Apple. But while I was reading, I kept going, "Oh my God, Tesla! Oh my God, Tesla!" Everything they said, having that vivid vision, which, by the way, is another great book that it's called Vivid Vision. If you need help getting your vision down.
Really?
So I did want to say a couple of things. I know time always gets away from us.
Yep. Go ahead.
First of all, if you look at the cover of the version of Science and Getting Rich that I have,
Yep.
it says right here in the corner, it says The Secret Behind the Secret.
Yeah.
So when Rhonda Byrne, who did The Secret, wrote in her book, she said that there was a book that influenced her to write The Secret. This book is that book, okay? Yep. And I can completely see why, because it's about using vivid vision, with the vision board. It definitely comes out of this thing. And so many things in there led to The Secret.
That's actually what led me to it in the first place, was The Secret. So she mentioned Wallace D. Wattles, and then Grant Cardone in his Millionaire booklet also mentions the Science of Getting Rich.
Nice.
And so Grant Cardone mentioned it. I went and I downloaded it right away. And then I'm listening to The Secret, maybe 6 months later, and she mentions Wallace D. Wattles. I'm like, oh my God, like, boom, like mind explosion. Like, all of these people are talking about this book. This is the source.
Jen Sincero, you are a badass. I keep pumping that book. If I
We
had
need to
my
get an
own,
affiliate link.
yeah, right. If I had a foundational 5 for me, I would put "You Are Badass" in there,
Where would it
especially
go?
since I have daughters, because it's Jen's obviously a woman,
Right.
but she talks about it. And actually, my favorite. So I got to the Science of Getting Rich through "You Are Badass." Okay, that's
Which book is it? Is it the colorful one there? The white with the colors?
none of those. No, it's just yellow. It says "You Are Badass."
Oh no, I'm looking for a Vivid Vision.
Oh, Vivid Vision. Let me look. That might be it. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know about that. It's just about getting your vision. It's a very short book, but I don't have it here. I'll get you a picture of it.
All right. All right.
Maybe put it in the show notes.
All right. I'll put in the show notes. We're gonna get
But
all that in
her,
the show notes. I love it.
but like I said, we always time kind of when we're doing this, it's so much fun that it just kind of flies by. But my absolute favorite quote from The Science of Getting Rich is one that Jen Sincero mentions, and when she said it, I had to listen to "You Are Badass" like 8 or 10 times before it even sunk in. I was like, I don't know, whatever. I don't even know what she was saying, but here it is, and I know you know it. But anyways, to think what you want to think, is to think the truth, regardless of appearances.
Yep.
So when you first hear it, you're like, to think what you want to think is to think truth, regardless of appearances. It's very wordy. I don't understand what the hell that means.
Right.
But basically, we're in a thinking world, a thinking universe, and you create
Right.
your own universe.
I'm just writing that down for myself
All
for
right.
later.
Let me
Say that
find
again.
it. To think, this is funny. Interactive part of the show. Wait, I gotta find it. I know I wrote a big, here it is. Nope. Nope, not there. Here it is. To think what you want to think is to think truth,
It's
comma.
truth.
And truth is in capital letters. Truth. Regardless of appearances, you gotta finish it. Regardless of appearances.
Regardless of appearances.
Yeah, that's the important. Well, I mean, it's all important.
I love that. So, Mike, what are some of the other principles in the book? And I'm writing this down for myself,
Sure.
100% for myself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what I love is your board's already in the back there, so all your 100 millionaires.
Yep.
By the way, one of our 100 millionaires, what's her name? Is it Jessica? Is that her name? She's got a birthday today. I just wanted to wish her a happy birthday. Maybe it's Jen. The one who's got the...
Happy birthday, Jessica.
Jessica. Is it Jessica? I don't know.
I know. Happy birthday to one of our millionaires.
Yeah, right. I gotta find it now.
So
Jessica Turner. Happy
Jessica
birthday.
Turner, very good.
All right. So the reason that I just wanted to finish that thought. The reason that thought on your board is so amazing is that you create your own reality.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because you're sitting there going, well, how can you say I create my own reality? I'm sitting in this office here, and it is what it is. But whatever you think is the truth. So if you think you're a billionaire, you are a billionaire. If you think that you're terrible at relationships, you are terrible at relationships. So
becomes
you
real.
create your own reality, and that I could spend a whole podcast just on that sentence. I swear to God.
Right.
It's amazing.
And that really is, that's why I wrote it down, because you pulled something out of the book that is so true. And it's been one, I'm telling you, I obsess, I study this book, and I tell everybody in the mentorship program that I mentioned on the Saturdays, anytime I talk about the foundational 5, I'm like, look, these are the first 4. They open your mind, they get you going. There's a lot of information. It's practical, it's skill use. The last one, if I could cut all of them out, that's the one. I would keep that one and cut the rest out, and I would just run on that. And I'm living proof. My entire company is based on those words. The words out of that book, I'm like, okay, advancement, so awesome. Right? If I'm talking to somebody, we're talking about you're going further forward. I'm going forward. You're going forward. Let's go.
Oh my God, this book gets me so amped up.
Gratitude.
Just when you were saying it, I don't want to jump away from that too far, but the whole thing about being an advancing man.
Right.
After I read this thing, I would say to people, besides saying I'm a money magnet, I would say, I am an advancing man. Yeah, right.
It just
So
makes you feel
think
better.
about that, right? If you sit there and you wake up every morning before you put your feet on the floor when you get out of bed, if you say, I am an advancing man, it just,
Yeah.
oh my God, it just gets you so amped up.
It's a different way of starting life. It's a different
Exactly.
way of starting the day.
So
And
cool.
and you take that momentum, swinging out of bed. You're like, oh, look at me move! Like, look at me go!
Yeah. I
You
am an
know,
advancing man.
like you're about to go tackle the world. Like the world's
Yeah.
like sitting there just waiting for you to get up and like show it something new. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so awesome. It is.
And
I mean, this, yeah.
you,
So I'm going to probably be reading it. I mean, my goal is to read it every week as
I love
well,
that. It,
because because it is short. It hammers down the points that the other four foundational tell you to do. Um, it's so funny. Even Wallace Waddles, the author,
yeah,
he even says, "Don't read other books in this
yeah.
book." He says at a certain point, he's like, "Don't follow other leader, any of that stuff. Just
Other
follow this book."
teachings, right?
Yeah,
If you want to be successful, just actually do the things in this book. Like
right,
actually just go and do
yeah,
them, put them into play.
right,
And every time I listen to it, and then I go and act like do some right action, right? Because he talks about
right,
right action.
right.
And as soon as I put some right action into play, I'm like, oh my God, that came from the book. Like that,
So
I've got to go
cool.
back and what else am I missing?
Yeah. Another thing you were saying, because you were doing it on the 52 weeks of wealth, fixity of purpose. So that's
Fixity of
16, I'd say.
purpose. That's
That's
this
one of the
weekend.
concepts from this book,
Yeah.
because you really have to fix in your mind where you're going.
Right.
And he even says that, Wallace Waddles even says that most people have these sort of vague visions. And I really think that that's where the vision board comes in. You're a perfect example of that. You said you took pictures of a city block in Fall River, and the next thing you knew, you owned it.
Yeah. Google just like bird's eye
Yeah.
view, snapshot of a block,
Yeah.
and before you know it, I owned 8 houses on that block.
Yeah. You
And
can
it's
see it,
like,
not to take other people out of our group, but you see from like Mitch Durfee, he posted
right.
today that his goal is always to own a skyscraper.
He has skyscrapers all over his house. Like he takes
Yeah.
his drone, he like records them. Like, tell me. And I'm on a mission with him. I told him, I was like, dude, like, I'm looking to get 10,000 units. I have no problem with a skyscraper being a
Yeah.
part of that chunk, you know?
If you want your mind blown, go. So Tony, what's Tony's last name? NGO, is it no?
Tiny no, yep.
Yeah. So he does property management for Sam Zell's company. That's one of his clients.
No way.
Is Equity Residential. So he's
Equity
like,
residential,
he's
yep.
like, you know, Equity's Residential, and I was like, no. I'm like, wait a second, is that Sam Zell's company? So I put in Google Equity Residential,
Yep.
and they have on their website, where do you want to live? And it's by big city like Los Angeles, San Francisco, Boston, New York.
Right.
If you want your own vision board, just go to Equity Residential on a daily basis and look
Yeah.
at what Sam Zell has for properties, because it's your 10,000. It's impressive. It's so awesome.
You know, it's crazy that you just said that. My vision board is BRG, Blue Rock Capital, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they make it very clear everything they own. They have 10,000 units. It's
Yeah.
all in the southeast section of the country. That's where I want to own. And like I look at the quality of the units. You're talking 400 unit buildings. They're all A-class property. They're cool. And their mission statement is amazing. Go check out their mission statement. Another company I love is
It's
Avalon.
BRC or BRG?
BRG.
Okay.
BRG.
So Blue Rock Group, then maybe.
Blue Rock, yeah, probably group.
Yeah.
But Blue Rock, and you can see there. So there's a couple of REITs I really like. I'm a part of them. But Blue Rock's, the way they put all their pictures up, it is absolutely a vision board.
Check it out. But I was saying on my vision board, I did take 120 unit apartments and put them on my vision board. And the nice thing about a vision board is that you can change your vision. You know, like I was really into the red Tesla. This is stupid, okay? I know it's like Warren Buffett with his indefensible.
Right, indefeasible or indefensible.
I get it. But I love that car. I love the concept and all that kind of stuff. And But if I decide I want a blue one instead of a red one, I can change it on my vision board and everything's
Exactly.
okay. So don't get into analysis paralysis because you're so afraid that you're putting the wrong things on your vision board. It doesn't.
Right.
It's not like that.
Just attract something. Just attract something
Right,
into your life.
One
And
right action leads to another right action, leads to another right action.
right. And if you end up with something you don't like, good. I'm glad you found out fast so you can get rid of it and go on to the next thing.
Exactly. Exactly. And even our whole relationship is just taking one right action to another. It's show up at a RIA meeting, and then
Right.
from the RIA meeting, you see some guy over there who's like a Spacone from Fall River. Who the hell is he? And then you end up liking the guy, and then you say, well, what are they doing? And then you just keep talking and going on and on. And say, I think I'll go to Fall River to see this thing. And
Right.
next thing you know, you're like, don't you have a podcast? And boom, now we got a podcast.
Yeah.
One right action.
This podcast was your idea.
Yeah.
You're like, hey man, you really need to get a podcast going. And I was like, well, Mike, would you do it with me?
Yeah. And it's fun too. I was blown away. There's a couple of people who wrote comments like, this is great. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
I can't believe people listen to us.
Yeah, right.
This is me hanging out with one of my friends talking about the things that make us successful. And I'm like, I could do this for a living, right? Like,
easily.
like I would do it for free every day of the week because I learn every time I talk to you.
Let's
I
do
mean, I
it.
just wrote this on my board, and I've read that book over 100 times, right?
Yeah. We can get to that level. You know, that's the other thing is you got to believe, and that's also in the book that you have to already believe that you have it.
Faith.
It's faith in the unseen, right?
Gratitude that you already have it. Thankfulness that you already have it. You have the purpose, fixity of purpose, and the vision. Clear vision, fixity of purpose, the faith, and the gratitude. Those four pieces, I have it written all over my house. Like those are the four pieces that make you successful.
Yeah.
Fixity of purpose, clarity of vision, depth of gratitude, and power of faith. And like when you have all four sections, it's like, yeah, of course this is happening, obviously.
Yeah. I did want to point out one thing that I also loved about this book is that he says, be creative, not competitive.
Be creative. Yes.
And it's you're not in this, it's the abundance mindset.
Right.
There's plenty to go around. And if it doesn't exist already, then the thinking stuff will create more of it. There's a whole section on that. And because I think I've spent a lot of my life, last 20 years, always looking at what another person's doing and trying to compete with them. And so when you read this book, it gives you this freedom to say, well, wait a second, it's abundant. There's so much out there. Just go get yours, and everybody else will get theirs, and you'll be helping them. And like the 100 millionaires, we're helping other people. And it's not like if we create 100 millionaires, like, oh shit, that was the $100 million, and now we don't have anything.
Right.
Nobody thinks that way. Nobody thinks that way. So it was kind of idiotic in my mind to think that way. And now I see it, that it's like the universe wants you to succeed. That, by the way, is also in the book.
Yep.
Wants you to succeed. It's not some evil God pointing down saying we're going to crush you. And you just have to get that vivid vision and go with it. And the universe will give it to you. It's so awesome. And you don't need to compete. You should be happy for that other real estate agent or that other wholesaler or that other attorney, or any of that. Yeah.
I love what you're saying, because I've heard so many people in this industry say it's such a competitive industry. Oh, you guys are competing for the same property. And every single time I interview somebody extremely successful, and Bigger Pockets is the same thing, they don't ever look at the competition, because they're just like, nah, I just market more. I just go talk to more people. I just offer more options. I just do more. And if I don't get the deal, I'm on to the next deal. I'm not crying over spilt milk. I'm just on to the next one.
Yeah. Even the hosts, they had the guys from this podcast called the Real Estate Guys Radio Show.
Real Estate Guys. Yep.
Yeah. And they've been around for a lot longer than Bigger Pockets.
Yeah.
They had them on there. And when they talk about them, they're like, oh my God, you're the reason that I decided to do this podcast, was because I listened to you. And it's all like positive. It's not the, I don't know. I find that people who aren't on this path that we're on are all about sort of fighting each other for the next deal. And I refuse to live that way. I don't have any desire to be that way.
Yeah. You don't subscribe to to the bad message, you know,
Yeah.
and not the, you know, you don't have to subscribe to the bullshit. It's like, no, I live a good life. I'm going to continue to live a good life. It's an abundant life. And
Yeah.
you see that. And because you see that, it manifests, you create more of it. You're
Yeah, and
seeking it
actually,
constantly.
when you're happy for other people, it manifests more. You know,
Yeah.
like the whole 100 millionaire movement is about being happy for other people and being grateful for what you have, and saying, "Hey, come on along with us. We're doing this. Come get it with us." And there's plenty to go around,
Right.
and it would make me nothing would make me more happy, like happier than me getting a Lamborghini would be
Yep.
to actually, and it's going to happen. I'm not saying it like that, but
We're
to actually
manifesting it. It's
just
coming.
get to the 100 millionaires.
Yeah.
So to see when we turn the page and there's that 100 person who stands up in one of our rooms or in a Zoom meeting and says, "I did it. I am now officially a millionaire," and we could say, "We did it. We did 100." I mean, that would. I mean, oh my heart would explode. That would be right. Wouldn't that be more amazing
I
than
get chills thinking about it. Just
getting a
chills.
stupid car? I mean, you
Yeah.
know, it's not. Yeah.
I've said it to other people. They say, "Oh, well, you know, come out party with us." I'm like, "Nah, I can't. Like, I'm on. I got something important I have to do, right?"
Yeah.
And
That's so good.
and I would so let somebody else do this, right? If you want to go and make millionaires and get rich doing it, like God, like join the party, right?
Yeah.
But like the thing is, I haven't seen it, and so we have to go do it.
Yeah.
Like if we don't do it, who will?
So good.
You know?
And there's actually a need for it. It's like a niche. There's it's a big niche, but there's a niche because
Look,
it's like you said, you were standing in front of people and you did split testing, and
Yep.
people's eyes opened up. When you look them right in the eye and you say, "I'm going to make you a millionaire. I'm going to make you a millionaire. I'm going to make you a millionaire." And just to add to that, I was reading the Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, the Gary
Love
Keller.
that book. Yeah.
When you read it, you realize that our goal is not really that big a deal.
No, it's so small.
Because it's so small. Like, you know, like we're going for billionaire status, okay?
Right.
So when you look at like his steps, like even if you didn't ever come to one of our meetings, you could become a millionaire by reading like 15 pages of that book and just following the Millionaire Real Estate Investor.
Just follow it.
Right.
Right. Like the whole reason.
We got bigger fish to fry. We're getting lots of people, and then those people, like you said, are going to go get more people. And
Exactly.
I bet you that it'll be more exciting for them to get the 100 millionaires than it was for them to become a millionaire, right?
All day, every day, because it's a mission. It's a journey. It's like, man, like how do we do it? How do we do it?
Yeah.
And
it's good because I needed something.
Yeah.
You know, like Brenda has a pretty vivid vision of what she wants to do, but I didn't really. So when you said that, I just latched onto it. I said, "Oh my God, this is perfect." Yeah. Oh, and thank you for erasing the comma over.
Oh yeah, I did that for you. Right. So I was going to actually write out all the zeros.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
But this looks better, right? Like I don't know. I was going for a million. I was writing a million up there, and then I realized, you know, 100 millionaires just looks way better. But I left the comma in, so it looked like 1 and 2 zeros.
Yeah, and you said I don't know where we can put this, but you were talking about having 100 millionaires help you get to your 100 millionaires.
Yeah.
So we should almost have like a Facebook sign-up sheet. Although I don't know how you do it because I don't really. It's kind of when you say, "Oh, Michael, you're a millionaire," that's a little embarrassing for me. But if you sat there and you said the people who already have, you know, like if you said like the Mitch Dursby and Mitch Jaworski and me and you and Ron and wouldn't it be neat if we had 100 people? Maybe we don't have to say that they're already millionaires. Maybe we can just say these 100 people have committed to making 100 new millionaires, like somewhere, like a sign-up sheet.
You know, it's funny you say this. I actually have on my vision board. Yeah, this is nuts, dude. I have on my vision board to build 100 influencers, but they have to be millionaires already. Anyway.
I like it. So you can just call them influencers. You don't have to get into the. People get a little weird around their own money. You know?
Yeah, people get uncomfortable when, like, even for me, when I started this, and like, people think I'm bragging and braggadocious, and it's like, you have no idea how hard it is to get in front of people and tell them you're a millionaire. Like it is,
Right.
sounds like so much ego. It is so fucking hard for me to do it. Well, not now. I do it because I know I have to, but
Yeah.
like in the beginning, like to get out in front of everybody and say, you sit in front of 40 people or 20 people who you know really well because you've been coaching them for a long time, and say, hey, look, I'm a millionaire. Like there's so much anxiety that comes up.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like,
Right.
so I was showing up and I wasn't doing a net worth calculator.
Yep.
And then one day I was like in the front row in the darkened room of 383, or what is it, 343 East Main Street? What is the?
Yep. Was it 348 East Main Street?
Yeah, which is good to know because I sent Samantha to 383 East Main.
So it's close. She's on the same street.
Lucky she didn't get killed.
You sent her the Zoom link for this Saturday, right? Don't send her to the physical address.
But I'm sitting in that dark, cold room in the wintertime, and you like look up and you go, well, Mike's a millionaire. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? But since we've done some net worth sheets, I actually printed up 26 of them for the next 6 months.
Nice.
And yeah, when you look at the assets that you own minus the debts that you have, and you look at the stocks minus any margin that you're playing with. It's I know if you're one of the wholesalers, I don't want to say this, but it is actually a very easy goal, and we're going to get you there. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. If you're working with us, if you're in our mentorship program, if you're in our mastermind, if you're coming to our free 52 weeks to success, 52 weeks to wealth, the 52 millionaire wealth principles, right? We bounce around a couple different ideas on how to speak about this, but every Saturday, what is it? It is.
I know.
It is one of the books. So I have two I'm writing right now, and that is, as soon as I finish the 52 weeks with you and we go through all of it, that's the next book.
So I get a little whiz in the corner.
You're going to get a little sense says books contributed by Mike Schein.
Right. Oh,
have to.
Star.
Absolutely. And so that book, when it comes out, well, right now what we're doing is we're teaching all 52 weeks. We're doing it every Saturday, and I'll put the Zoom link somewhere in this box somewhere in the post. But the Saturday is free. You don't have to pay anything, and it's 52 weeks of us teaching the absolute best principles. Mike brings the book to associate either with that principle or what we feel you need at the time, and it's a powerful way to change the mindset to get you to the million. So even if you don't have, the coach or the mentor yet, this is free. We're pumping it out there to build our millionaires. Like, we don't care about how much time it takes. We're doing it.
And I just want to say, so first of all, I got involved in this because I was showing up before the virus to watch Walter speak about these 52 principles. So this is not something planned before. We didn't have a little meeting before where we said, oh, let's do a little advertisement for the Saturday morning thing. I go, and if you're interested in real estate and becoming a millionaire, come to the Saturday morning. I don't really do anything but take notes and tell about the book. It's all Walter, and Walter, not to blow smoke, but you're an amazing speaker. You're inspiring. You have the right fixity of purpose, going back to Science Getting Rich. And again, it's free. I mean, obviously it's a funnel and there are other things that you can get from there, but you don't have to do that. You can get a lot out of the Saturday morning and just become part of our community. And if you actually get to hear this podcast, there's got to be the reason the universe put this podcast in front of you. So it's your time.
Nobody clicks on 100 Millionaires podcast without looking to do something in their lives.
Right.
It's exactly why it's designed this way. Nobody clicks on it without thinking there's a chance, right? And as we're teaching and developing, like, you start seeing it in the 52 weeks. Like, hell yeah, I'm gonna sell a mentorship program. I'm gonna sell a coaching program. I'm gonna sell a mastermind. Of course, right? Of course I'm going to, because it speeds you up. It's how I've sped up my process.
Right. And to say that, Walter is going to give you way more than you're going to pay. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know, there may be charlatans out there that charge you a bunch of money and don't give you anything. I actually went to one of those
I've
programs
been to a few.
up in
Yeah.
Mass, paid the $1,000, and then they tried to upsell me to 29,000.
Yep.
And then I spoke to someone who paid the 29,000, and they said they went to Utah and were tried to upsell to a $56,000 program. I get that. Okay, but that's just not who
Yeah.
we are.
No.
This is, you get so much value. I mean, listen, I could sit on my chair. I'm already a lawyer. I already run a business. I own stocks. I own real estate. Why do I drive 41 minutes to go sit in a cold? You need heating or something in that.
We finally installed heat, right?
Yeah. Why do I go on a Saturday morning to do it? Because I know that it's valuable, and that's where it came from. So,
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, there's so many people out there. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of good people out there, but there are a lot of people on the internet that are selling a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a totally different way. Like we
we're selling.
goal, and you can just get caught up in the wave. Yeah.
Yeah. I love what you just said, because that's what me and Ron always talked about. We're like, man, like everybody else coming down here, some people driving from Boston, driving an hour, driving 30 minutes. But when I told Ron where you drove from, he's like, no way. Like Mike has it made. Like, he's already got his life put together. Why is he still driving to a training where you're giving information like to get to the next level? But like, why is Mike doing this? Right? He's good. Like, he's good.
Oh, not. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not.
You're looking for the next level.
I'm looking for
You're looking for the next level.
Yep.
And it's the same reason I travel over the country, going to those trainings, reading all the books. What's next?
Go on to another book. I do have. So I think I mentioned before that I read the Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer.
I just downloaded it, so I'll be getting through that one. Yep.
And then, which is kind of Michael Singer's story, which will blow you away, kind of like the Sam Zell "Am I Being Too Subtle" story will blow you away.
Love that
Michael
one.
Singer's story of just surrendering and having things come to him is amazing. That's kind of like my story with you and all this stuff. I just said, all right, I'm going to go to this thing and see where it goes, and I'm not going to resist it, and it just keeps getting better and better. It's just fun, and there's no. It was like Walter says, hey, let's do this. I'm like, yeah. I don't even, just surrender. We're just, so his other book, which is the one that Oprah gives to all her friends, is called.
And if Oprah gives it away.
Yeah, right. It's called The Untethered Soul. And I had a closing as a favor to a mortgage person. I drove 2 hours and 15 minutes to a refi yesterday.
No way.
In Connecticut.
Wow.
Way the hell down there. And then the closing took approximately 15 minutes. And then I got back in my car and drove back. But I listened to The Untethered Soul. Thank you, Tony. No, he sent it to me in the Audible. And
Nice.
that is just an amazing book. Again, about surrendering, about the voice, the conversation that goes on in your head, and how you should not. I can't even describe it. The book is so good. Just read that book. It just blew my mind. And
Untethered Soul. Ordering it now. I just ordered Vivid Vision. It looks like it's only 2 hours.
Yeah, Vivid Vision is a very small book. Brendan Turner from Bigger Pockets tells a story about how he was on a plane from like Oregon to Hawaii at 6 hours.
Yep.
And in the 6 hours, using the book Vivid Vision, that's the first one, the bluish one with the boat there.
Gotcha.
He wrote out his whole vivid vision for his whole life out of that little teeny 50 or 60 page book, because he was stuck on an airplane for 6 hours. And he planned out his whole life, and now he's living it, which included being the host of Bigger Pockets.
Wow.
Yeah. I got another one that I'm reading. These are for me intentionally to read in the future, is Vivid Vision. But the other one that I've known about since I lived in California in the 90s.
Yep.
Called Creative Visualization. And Creative Visualization is the first book on visualizing. It was like from like the 60s or 70s. And then it went out of print. I remember listening to, there's a Oakland A's pitcher named Barry Zito, Oakland A's pitcher, who said he read this book. He was on the Jim Rome show talking about creative visualization.
No way.
And then I looked for it, and it was out of print. And then recently, it came back into print, and it is he said he attributed the reason that he ended up being a star pitcher was creative
No
visual.
kidding.
Yeah. So I
All right.
recommend that one too. So
All right.
books for
Yeah,
adults.
I'm putting it down. I put Untethered Soul. Dude, I'm reading like 7 books all at
I
once right now.
know. It's overwhelming.
I still haven't finished. Am I being too subtle? Like I'm halfway through the book and I'm enjoying. Like of all the books I'm reading, I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I want this guy's mindset. Like I just want to think like Sam Zell right now.
And so when I read that book, all I kept thinking about was you. REITs. Yeah, such a good book.
And he runs a REIT. He owns a REIT. And I'm just like, oh my god, $5
It's
billion
on
REIT.
the
Like this is nuts.
the father or the grandfather of the modern REIT. Yeah.
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 He's the grandfather of modern REITs.
Yeah.
And you handed me that book. So if it wasn't for you, like opening my mind to so many different opportunities with the books that you're like, yes, am I overwhelmed? Of course.
Yeah.
Great. You know, it's better than what I was before. I didn't know which book to read next because I'd read so many already.
Right.
So
You should see our books, like, because I have bookshelves that are like stuffed. We have to get another bookshelf. We have so many books, and I haven't read half of them.
I have in my office alone 8 bookshelves. Right, there's 8 here. They're half stacked. So
is that the compound effect down there? Is that
the compound effect is over there. Habits. Yep.
That's so funny. Yeah.
So and this is just the books I bought.
Did you read You Are a Badass?
Yeah, so I've read You're a Badass, but it was a while back, and so I want to go back through it because you talk about it so often that I don't even have the physical copy. I only have the audio version. So
yeah,
I want to go through it a little
I drive
slower.
around. I just drive around and listen to her. I said, Jen said to Brenda, like Jen said to this, Jen said that, Jen said this. She reads Think and Grow Rich and Science of Getting Rich 30 minutes every day.
No kidding.
Yeah, she says there's plenty of other financial books, but those are the 2 that she reads 30 minutes every day.
Yeah.
And she's
I love that.
Yep.
You know, you keep this up, it may be added, but I don't know which one to take out. Yeah, I don't know which. So
why can't we do the foundational 10, or we can do like the bonus 5? Because I
think you're right.
Miracle Morning has to be in there.
I got to get the one thing in there. You know, there's some books that, you know, but so the foundational 5, right, is for next level. Because I think if Rich Dad Poor Dad, if you at least read that, kind of get you thinking.
Yeah. Broke to $250,000.
It's in there. It's somewhere in there, you know.
Yeah.
In my mentorship program, I sneak it in. I'm like, book 1.
I saw that. I was like, nice job.
And then I have a hard time because I've done the foundational 5 for so long that I'm like, book 1 is, you know, broke to $250,000, and then book 2, and in my head I'm thinking book 2 is Rich Man of Babylon, but book 2 is actually now.
That's so funny.
I
would say You're a Badass, Miracle Morning, The One Thing, and again, these are all money books. I could have a foundational 5 for
health and
spiritual. So all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because the one that Brenda goes back to, I think Brenda's read this 4 times now, and actually had me print out the PDF, is Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now.
Power of Now.
That book, I have it on audio, and I've listened to it.
I gotta listen to it.
Very thick German accent, but that is a foundational. Like if I had to start a book on like meditation or just being there, it would start with The Power of Now. It's he's been on Oprah too. I don't even watch Oprah. I don't know why I keep referring to Oprah, but The Power of Now.
She's pretty influential, you know, Oprah.
Yeah. The Power of Now will just rock your world. Like you'll read it, you'll go, oh my God, the way I look at everything has just changed.
Yeah. I love that, dude.
The guy sat on a park bench for 2 years before he just was doing nothing.
Decided to go. Yep.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Mike Schein, Book of the Week, Science of Getting Rich. Let's close this out. We'll jump into a little one-on-one conversation. So
cool.
Like us on iTunes. I think I'm supposed to say that. Like us on YouTube. And
I just get to see them first.
And share it. You know, share this with friends. Share this with not the broke friends, the ones who want to be millionaires. Share it with those guys.
They can be broke. They just
temporarily broke.
That's right. Just don't have a broke attitude, right?
That's right.
Attitude, be an advancing man. I am an advancing man.
Be the advancing man.
Yeah.
We got to come up with a thing, but I'm going to say we're signing off. When you have a choice, always work with the best. Mike, what's your slogan?
Passive income from passive income. Woo!
Love it, brother. See you in a little bit.
Okay. Bye.